This week's episode of TST is dedicated to the memory of Gord Downie. This past week, Gord passed away at the age of 53 after a year-and-a-half battle with terminal brain cancer. It was a sad day for Canadians when he died because he loved Canada so much, and it showed in everything that he did. He was just so passionate about everything Canadian related. He was a battler till the very end. A lot of people thought this was going to be the guy to beat it, and it was a sad day when he passed away. A lot of people will remember him for his music with Tragically Hip. I, however, one of my finest Gord moments, I guess, is when I first found out that he was featured in the song Sleeping Sickness by City and Colour. And this is the way I choose to start the show today and honor him. So this week's episode, TST, is dedicated to the memory of Gord Downie. Hello, this is TST, Total Sports Talk. Andrew Rogers here with you. Thank you very much for joining me. As always, it's a pleasure to have you here week after week after week. And I love bringing these videos to you, and I hope you enjoy them just as much as I enjoy bringing them to you. We got a loaded show. Let's give you an idea of what we're going to cover. Hawk Tawk. We got the Winterhawks on the road against the Shadow Lake Crushers this past week. It was a dominant effort. I'll explain in Hawk Talk coming up in a little while. We also have the Owen Sound Attack report. It was a busy week for the Owen Sound Attack. Over the weekend, 2 games in Erie. We'll give you full results there and tee you up for the week upcoming, which is the last week of October. The Attack have gotten off to a good start, and we'll give you an idea of how the rest of it's going to play out in the month of October, if they can carry in that momentum into November as well. We're going to talk about the Toronto Maple Leafs. They had a very good week this past week, 3-1 in 4 games. We'll give you an update, or give you a recap of all the action there, as well as tee you up again for the upcoming week. It's again going to be another doozy. A lot of action going on for Toronto Maple Leafs. They look very good out of the gate, though. And it's very impressive what's going on there. So we'll get you caught up there. We're also going to cover the NFL. It was week number 7 in the NFL. A lot of great games that took place. We'll give you an idea, recap of all the scores, the top performers, and we'll get you teed up for week number 8, as well as we're going to go over the some of the key injuries that we're following from week 7 and beyond. So we'll give you an idea of all of that as well. We're going to talk about the Toronto Raptors. The Raptors officially have their season underway. They've played 3 games so far this past week. They kicked off their season, looked very strong out of the gate. We'll give you a recap of those 3 games that took place for the Toronto Raptors this past week. Finally, we're going to cover the Major League Baseball playoff story. The World Series is set. We'll tell you who's there and give you kind of an idea of who I expect to come out on top and claim this year's World Series championship title. We also got the TST Sports Movie Pick of the Week, as always. Without further ado, this is Hawk Talk.
TST Total Sports Talk presents Hawk Talk, brought to you by Gord's Imprints and Design. New location opening at 685 Goderich Street in downtown Port Elgin in the fall of 2017. Visit www.gordsimprints.com for more.
For this week's Hawk Talk, the Saugeen Shores Winterhawks were on the road this past Friday in Shallow Lake against the Shallow Lake Crushers, and to say they crushed them is an understatement.
Winterhawks Crushers from Shallow Lake. Second period, 1-0 Winterhawks. Jay Thompson finds Trent Hawk in front. He makes a move, and he makes it 2-0 Winterhawks. Still in the second, minute and a half later, it's Chris Menard over to Connor Patton. He goes top shelf to beat Septon, making it 3-0 Winterhawks. Looking for more, Menard over to Curtis Johnson, who finds Connor Patton, who rings one off the crossbar. It stays 3-0. 5-0 now, Connor Patton finds Josh Hopkin backdoor. He beats Septon easily. It's 6-0 Winterhawks. 2.5 minutes into the third period now, Hawk finds Trevor Smith at the point. His shot deflected by Andy Mitchell high in the slot. That makes it 7-0 Winterhawks. The rout was on in this one, folks. The Winterhawks would add 2 more in the third period for a 9-0 final. Trent Hawk would finish with 3 goals and 2 assists on the evening, while Lachlan Elder finished with 4 assists, and Jay Thompson finished with a goal and 2 assists, that line combining for 12 points. Goaltender Jeff Flagler and Matt Tooten combined for a 24-save shutout for the win. Saugeen Shores improves to 2-1 on the season, while the Shallow Lake Crushers fall to 1-3.
Yeah, so a 9-0 victory by the Saugeen Shores Winterhawks against the Shallow Lake Crushers this past Friday, and Shallow Lake improves the Winterhawks to 2-1 on the season. Joining me now, very pleased to have Jordan MacKinnon, Director of Public Relations for the Winterhawks, join me. Welcome, Jordan, at TST.
Hey, thanks for having me, Andrew.
Not a problem, pal. It's great to speak with you. A huge win by the Winterhawks in Game 3. They absolutely dismantled the Shallow Lake Crushers. How impressed were you by their effort?
It was a really impressive game. That Shallow Lake arena is really small, and when you're a fast skating team like the Winterhawks, a team that moves the puck well, it can be really hard to get used to an arena like that when the opposition is right on top of you at all times. And it did take a little getting used to. You could see it just on the score sheet. It was 1-0 after the first period. It was once the floodgates opened, though, it was really impressive, and the goals came quick.
Yeah.
And it was really a dominant performance, start to finish. They never let up the whole night. Maybe when you're up 7-0, 8-0, you don't drive the net as hard, but
sure.
You get into those games where you get up a lot of goals, and that's where the bad habits sneak in on you. And they did a really good job of keeping it going and keeping the pace up against the Crushers.
Yeah, no question. I mean, the line particularly of Hawk, Thompson, and Elder combined for 12 points. How impressed were you with the play of Trent Hawk on Friday?
He was everywhere. He seemed like every time he touched the puck, it went into the net. The Shallow Lake defense really had no answer for Trent Hawk. Really, the whole line, they couldn't contain them at all. They had quite a few chances to score, even aside from the ones that they did. I think they were on for 5 goals, and they probably could have had a couple more, 2 or 3 more, but it was a dominant performance by that line. They were all over the place. They created lots of chances. They were moving the puck well, and it'll be interesting to see, when they get a more full lineup. They were missing Brian Kazarian and Blake Underwood.
Yeah.
And, first of all, we'll say congratulations to Blake. Blake got married on the weekend.
Yeah.
That's why he wasn't playing.
Absolutely.
But they're missing those 2 players. That's their top 2 centers, and it'll be interesting to see when those guys are back in the lineup this weekend, if they keep that Thompson and Elder line together with Hawk, or whether the coach decides to go back with Kaz and Underwood. It'd be interesting to see what he chooses to do there.
Absolutely. I mean, that's the tough part about the game of hockey, is that you never want to mess with what's rolling. And if the line is rolling like that, you almost are forced into not to split them up in that situation. Again, what it comes down to, like, I watched the highlights, and man, did I see some crisp passing. Like, is that one of the more impressive things so far that the Winterhawks have done this season?
Yeah, they moved the puck really well. They're really skating hard, and when you do that, and when you're out skating your opponent like that, you open up those passing lanes. And even on the small ice in Shallow Lake, they were wide open. I mean, there was, if you watch the goal that Josh Hopkin scored, it was a different line. It was the Menard and Patton and Johnston line, but they moved the puck around, they hemmed him in, and by the time Josh Hopkin snuck in off the point there, he was all alone, and Shallow Lake was, they were dead. There was no chance they were going to stop that rush there.
Yeah, like it was a beautiful backdoor pass. I mean, even the Andy Mitchell deflection up high, the first goal in the third period was very impressive. Like I say, it's great to see this early on that the Winterhawks are finding their groove and they're rolling. 2 straight victories after their opening defeat against Ripley. Now they got a big test coming up though, Durham Thundercats. What can you tell us about them, and what do you expect from this matchup?
Well, I do know that these are two teams that are not particularly fond of each other. They've met in the playoffs the last 2 seasons.
Yeah.
Winterhawks won both series.
Okay.
It's become a pretty good rivalry. It's certainly a rivalry that had a lot of animosity. There was a lot of well-publicized altercations last year in the playoffs.
Right.
Part of it stemming around Theo Peckham, so that's
yes, I remember.
Not so much of an issue anymore, but it's been an intense rivalry that's ratcheted up. Of course, anytime you meet a team in the playoffs 2 years in a row, you're going to have
100%.
A rivalry build there. But by all accounts, the Thundercats are improved this year. They weren't a bad team to begin with.
Right.
The Winterhawks won the series in 5 games last year, but all 5 games were really close. And so, by all accounts, the Thundercats are a better team. So it should be a pretty good measuring stick game, early in the season to sort of see where everybody is. And you're all jockeying position. Losing a game here, losing a game there doesn't seem like a big deal. But as we see in the standings every year, it's 1 or 2 losses that cost you the difference between home ice advantage in the first round.
Absolutely, especially considering the Winterhawks went 18-1-1 last year. I mean, 20 games in a season is not a lot. 1 loss could really cripple you at the end. Am I right?
No, absolutely. I mean, the Winterhawks were 18-1-1 last year, and I believe it was only 2 or 3 weeks, maybe 2 weeks left in the season when they clinched first place.
Yeah.
I mean, that's with the Clinton Radars forfeiting 4 games. If those 4 games hadn't been forfeited, it's a 3-horse race for first place, and maybe they don't even finish in first place.
Maybe, but they were deadly impressive last year, no question about it. Through 3 games, I know it's early. Who would you say has impressed you the most at this point in the season for the Winterhawks?
The player that has really stood out to me is Josh Hopkin.
Yeah.
Sometimes when you see these kids make the jump, it pains me to call these guys kids.
Right.
Because they're 21, 22.
Sure.
But, Josh Hopkins, I believe he's 21. Sometimes when you see these kids make the jump from junior, it takes a year or 2 for them to get used to, you're not playing against, a 150-pound 16-year-old anymore.
Sure.
They're guys that are 200 pounds and 28, 29 years old. And sometimes there's a period of adjustment there.
100%.
With Josh Hopkin this year, he's such a smooth skater. He moves the puck really well.
Mm-hmm.
You can tell the coach has a lot of confidence in him. He's playing in all situations. He's playing a lot in the power play. He's a really smooth skater, and I've been really impressed with the way he's playing. He's somebody that's really stood out. 3 games into his senior hockey career, he looks really good. Yeah,
and you know what? He's only going to continue to grow. We've been speaking with Jordan MacKinnon, Director of Public Relations for the Winterhawks. Jordan, thanks for taking the time to sit down with us and talk on TST, Total Sports Talk. Thank you again, and we'll catch up with you soon.
Yeah, no problem. Anytime, Andrew.
All right. This has been Hawk Tawk. We're now going to our player profile, this week's Winterhawks player profile here on TST.
My name's Josh Hopkin, and I'm from Hanover, Ontario. Fondest hockey memory would be probably making AAA for the first year in minor Pee Wee.
Right on. What was that like for you?
It was a lot different, just the speed of the game and then just the talent of jumping from rep hockey in Hanover.
Pretty cool for you.
Yeah, it was really enjoyable. The most embarrassing hockey memory was probably in Major Bantam when I went out for a game and still had my skate guards on.
Attaboy, we've all done that.
Yeah, it was not the best.
You guys give you a hard time for it?
Yeah, it lasted a pretty long time. I think I'll miss most just coming to the rink and being with the guys and just playing hockey.
Yeah, love it,
Yeah.
Which former NHLer had the nickname the Finnish Flash?
Tinu Solani.
Tinu Solani, nice, good job. This former NHLer was on the cover of EA Sports Game NHL 2004.
Danny Heatley.
Oh boy, good job. Tinu Solani, like we've mentioned, holds the rookie record for goals in a rookie season with 76. Who did he score him with?
Winnipeg Jets.
There you go, good job, buddy, good job. Port Elgin native and former NHLer Brett McLean got drafted in the second round in the 07 draft, I believe. Which team drafted him?
Pass.
Oh, Phoenix Coyotes. And spell the word Zamboni.
Zamboni.
Attaboy, good job.
It means a lot. It's a great community and great organization, and I have some family that lives around here, so they'll be able to attend the games, which will be nice.
Are you good to play in front of them?
Yeah, it'll be nice to actually get to play in front of them for once.
Yes, that's right. Defenseman Josh Hopkin, our Winterhawks player profile for this week. Like I say, next up, staying on the road, the Saugeen Shores Winterhawks are on the road this Friday, upcoming in Durham against the 2-0 Durham Thundercats. They're a very good team, and this team has history with the Saugeen Shores Winterhawks, which means fireworks will be going off. Hopefully, to keep it entertaining, I imagine it will be the way the Winterhawks are going after that 9-0 rout of the Crushers. This one gets underway at 8:30 on Friday in Durham against the Durham Thundercats. Saugeen Shores Winterhawks, Durham Thundercats should be a dandy of a matchup. You don't want to miss it if you get down to Durham. Check it out. The Winterhawks are rolling. Can't wait till they get back home in the Plex. And they are playing very well out of the gate, and I only expect that to continue. This has been Hawk Talk for this week. We'll be right back after this.
You are watching TST, Total Sports Talk. TST Total Sports Talk presents the Owen Sound Attack Report.
Welcome back, everybody. Andrew Rogers back with you. This is the Owen Sound Attack Report. The Attack were on the road this past weekend for 2 games back-to-back against the Erie Otters. In the first game, saw the Erie Otters come out on top. 6-4 was the final. Both teams combined for 6 goals in the first period, 3 on either side, and then Erie exploded for 3 more in the second to take the victory. Nick Suzuki had a very good game for the Owen Sound Attack, 4 points. Sean Dursey and Kevin Hancock also with 3 points apiece. That line was rolling all night. However, they were unable to come up with the strength to lead the Attack to victory. We had, Taylor Radish was an absolute beast. He had 3 helpers for the Erie Otters as they improved to 4-6-1 on the season, while the Attack dropped to 6-2-0-2 on the season. Zach Bauman was started for the Owen Sound Attack. He was lifted in favor of Matt Guzda at the end of the second period after allowing 4 goals on 9 shots. These 2 teams then met again on Sunday. It was the Erie Otters coming out on top 4-3 against the Owen Sound Attack to sweep the weekend series. Erie improving to 5-6-1 on the season, while the Owen Sound Attack dropped to 6-3-0-2. Zach Bauman starting once again, getting the start in this one, made 26 saves in the loss. Troy Timpano picking up the victory for the Erie Otters. He made 31 saves. Owen Hedrick had a goal and an assist, as well as Taylor Radish for the Erie Otters. Maxime Sushko, Matthew Struthers, and Dalen Grew had the goals for your Owen Sound Attack. Nick Suzuki adding an assist in the game. Even though the Owen Sound Attack went 0-2 over the weekend, they still got a ton of points from Nick Suzuki, who is our TST Attack Player of the Week.
He was drafted in the first round, 13th overall by the Vegas Golden Knights in 2017. He is off to an incredible start on the year. He recorded 5 points this past weekend, including a 4-point outing on Saturday. Congratulations, Nick, on being named the TST Attack Player of the Week. Now, the Owen Sound Attack also did make some moves, some trades to better improve their team. The first of which, they acquired goaltender Christian Prop from the Barrie Colts in exchange for Erie's second-round pick in 2019, Owen Sound's fifth-round pick in 2019, and Owen Sound's seventh-round pick in 2020 priority draft. They also then swapped that goaltender that they picked up and traded him to the North Bay Battalion. Goaltender Christian Prop, as well as an Owen Sound's 10th round pick in 2020 in exchange for defenseman Brady Lyle. Now, Brady Lyle comes to the team as an 18-year-old. He's 6'1", 206 pounds, in 111 career games in the Ontario Hockey League, has 7 goals and 30 assists. He will be a big impact on the defensive side of the ice for the Owen Sound Attack. They also acquired North Bay's 7th round pick in 2020. They weren't done there. They also shipped defenseman Nick King to the North Bay Battalion for a conditional 15th round pick in 2018. Looking now at your leading scorers for your Owen Sound Attack, Nick Suzuki continues to lead the way. Like I said, he's been red hot out of the gate, and through 11 games, 9 goals and 14 assists for 23 points on the season. He's joined by defenseman Sean Dursey, who's also off to an incredible start to the season. 5 goals, 15 assists, and 20 points on the season. While Kevin Hancock, who centers that top line, is having an unbelievable start to his season as well. 5 goals and 12 assists for 17 points. Now, where that stacks up, as you can see with your leading scores, Nick Suzuki continues to lead the way, 23 points through 11 games so far. Sean Dursey slots in at 4th. He is the top defenseman scoring, defensive scorer in the league, 20 points in 11 games. Kevin Hancock comes in at number 7, 5 goals, 12 assists for 17 points. He's tied with Taylor Radish in that spot. Now we take a look at your Western Conference standings. The Sarnia Sting continue to lead the way. They are 12-1 on the year. 24 points they lead the way. Kitchener slots in at number 2. 7-5-1 on the season. 15 points there. Sault Ste. Marie Greyhounds slot in at number 3. They are 9-2-2 on the year. We had a couple of changes in the Western Conference standings from last week. Windsor Spitfires move up a spot. They are in 4th spot, 1 up on the Owen Sound Attack. Owen Sound Attack dropping 2. They are 6-3-0-2 on the season, 13 points. The other change has the Erie Otters. They are ahead of the Guelph Storm based on the extra point that they earned in overtime. They had a overtime loss, I believe, there. We also want to talk now on the OHL report about the Canada-Russia series. Canada naming their OHL roster that will compete in the Canada-Russia series, with one of those games being featured in Owen Sound, the second being featured in Sudbury. We'll get to those dates in a moment. First, the roster. We have goalie Jacob Ingham from Mississauga Steelheads, Dylan Wells from the Peterborough Petes, Michael DiPietro from the Windsor Spitfires, and Matt Villalta from the Sault Ste. Marie Greyhounds. On defense, Evan Bouchard leads the way from the London Knights. He's followed by Nicholas Haig from Mississauga Steelheads. Owen Sound Attack, Marcus Phillips on defense has been selected. Jordan Sambrook from the Erie Otters. Logan Stanley from the Kitchener Rangers. Connor Timmins from the Sault Ste. Marie Greyhounds. Kevin Bale from the Ottawa 67s. And Keaton Middleton of the Saginaw Spirit round out the defensive selections there. On the forward positions, we have Jonathan Ang from the Peterborough Petes. William Bitton from the Hamilton Bulldogs. Alex Formenton from the London Knights, Boris Kachuk from the Sault Ste. Marie Greyhounds, Jordan Cairo from the Sarnia Sting, Adam Mascarin from the Kitchener Rangers, Cliff Pooh from the London Knights, Taylor Radish from the Erie Otters, Giovanni Smith from the Guelph Storm, Robert Thomas from the London Knights, Macaulay Carson from the Sudbury Wolves, Morgan Frost from the Sault Ste. Marie Greyhounds, Nate Schnarr from the Guelph Storm, Jack Studnicka from the Oshawa Generals, and 2 Owen Sound Attack representatives. You have Jonah Gadjevic and Nick Suzuki, who make up the final selections there. Now, as it works out is that the OHL and Russia will go head-to-head in their series. They will play 2 games. November 9th is the date in Owen Sound, and November 13th in Sudbury. Also, in the other leagues in the Canadian Hockey League, the WHL and Russia will go head-to-head. That will take place November 6th and 7th. And then finally, the Quebec Major Junior Hockey League in Russia will go head-to-head November 14th and 16th. This is all in a process leading up to the 2018 World Junior Hockey Championships, which take place in Buffalo, New York this year. It'll take place from December 26th through January 5th. It'll be an absolutely incredible tournament, is every year. Love those Canada-United States games. They are nothing short of spectacular. Now, looking at the week ahead for your Owen Sound Attack, they have a busy week, 3 games to end the month of October. That gets underway Friday, October 27th at 7:30 at the Kitchener Memorial Auditorium against the 7-5-1 Kitchener Rangers. They follow up that by going back to the Bayshore for a home game against the North Bay Battalion. That takes place Saturday, October 28th at 7:30 p.m. at the J.D. MacArthur Arena and Bayshore at the Bayshore. And then finally at the Bayshore again, Sunday, October 29th for a Sunday matinee, 2 o'clock p.m. against the visiting Windsor Spitfires. A very good matchup there. 2 teams right in the deadlock position there in the Western Conference. Should be a dandy to go the rest of the way. This has been your OHL and Owen Sound Attack report. We'll be right back after this.
You are watching TST, Total Sports Talk. TST, Total Sports Talk presents the NHL and the Toronto Maple Leafs report.
Welcome back. This is your NHL and Toronto Maple Leafs report. The Maple Leafs were very busy last week. They had 4 games. Let's get underway with that. The Toronto Maple Leafs defeated the Washington Capitals 2-0 in their first game of the week that was. A stellar effort by Frederik Andersen in the net. He made 30 saves for the victory as the Maple Leafs improved to 5-1-0 on the season. Washington falls to 3-3-1. Braden Holtby made 28 saves in the loss. Like I said, Frederik Andersen, 30 saves for the victory and his 11th career shutout. Connor Brown got the game-winning goal in the third period, 5:53 into that frame, his second of the season, assisted by Morgan Riley. And then Nazem Kadri put the nail in the coffin, his empty netter, with at 19:38. It was his third of the season. It was assisted by Morgan Riley and Zach Hyman. A very good effort, top to bottom, for the Toronto Maple Leafs as they defeated the Washington Capitals. Very high-powered Washington Capitals, but they come out on top in this one. Moving on now, the Toronto Maple Leafs are back at home after being on the road in Washington, and they defeated the Detroit Red Wings 6-3. Maple Leafs then improved to 6-1 on the season, while the Red Wings fall to 4-3. To say they got under Jimmy Howard was an understatement. Jimmy Howard suffered the loss. He only made 1 save, and it came in a barrage of an incident where the Toronto Maple Leafs scored 3 times on their first 3 shots at the game. Jimmy Howard made 1 save, then they proceeded to score again on their next shot to chase Jimmy Howard, who ended up making 1 save for the loss. Curtis McElhinney, very good in this game for the Toronto Maple Leafs, made 30 saves in the victory. To say that the Leafs were rolling on this night is an understatement. 5 players registering a goal and an assist. That included Austin Matthews, William Nylander, Morgan Riley, Zach Hyman, and Nazem Kadri. Now, to say they were rolling is, like I said, it was an understatement. You know, this team was rolling because once Jimmy Howard exited the game after allowing 4 goals on 5 shots, in comes Peter Mrazek. The first shot he faces finds the back of the net. It was a truly impressive effort all the way around for your Toronto Maple Leafs. Now, they were in Ottawa this past weekend on Saturday night, Hockey Night in Canada, and the Ottawa Senators prevailed over your Toronto Maple Leafs. 6-3 was the final. Maple Leafs falling to 6-2-0 on the season, while the Ottawa Senators improved to 4-1-3. Craig Anderson was very good in the victory, 28 saves for him, while Frederik Andersen, 29 saves in the loss. Austin Matthews, William Nylander, both with a goal and an assist, while James Van Riemsdyk also had a goal in the game. Ottawa was led by Derek Brassard and Mark Stone, who both recorded 2 goals and an assist, while defenseman Erik Karlsson, who has just recently returned, provided a stellar game all around. He registered 3 assists for the Ottawa Senators. And finally, the Maple Leafs wrapping up their week with a victory over the LA Kings to hand them their first loss in regulation. They defeated the final score there 3-2 for your Toronto Maple Leafs. They are 7-2-0 on the season. Frederik Andersen, he was very, very sharp in this game. 36 saves for him for the victory on the season. He has looked very good. That is his 6th win already for the Toronto Maple Leafs. The LA Kings, like I say, they dropped to 6-1-1. Jonathan Quick made 30 saves in the loss. Patrick Marleau, Tyler Bozak, and Matt Martin providing all the damage for the Toronto Maple Leafs, while Mitch Marner also had his best game in quite some time. He registered 2 assists for the Toronto Maple Leafs in the victory. Your TST Maple Leafs Player of the Week this week is goaltender Frederik Andersen. In 3 starts out of 4 games this past week, Andersen went 2-1. He was very impressive. One of those victories also came his 11th career shutout against the Washington Capitals, 2-0. He has been nothing but stellar this season. Out of the gate, he has 6 victories already for the Toronto Maple Leafs. Thus, he is our TST Maple Leafs Player of the Week. Next up for the Toronto Maple Leafs, they got a busy week this week to end the month of October. Thursday, October 26th, 7 p.m. against the Carolina Hurricanes, followed up by a Saturday matchup, Hockey Night in Canada, October 28th, 7 p.m. against the Philadelphia Flyers, also at the ACC. And then finally, Monday, October 30th, sees them travel on the road in San Jose at 10:30 p.m. That is also the beginning of a 4-game road trip. They play San Jose Sharks, Anaheim Ducks, LA Kings, and the St. Louis Blues into the month of November. It's been a stellar start for the Toronto Maple Leafs without question. 7-2 so far on the season. They're having a great start to their year, and they've been very, very impressive. Here now is a look at your Leafs top 10 scorers. Austin Matthews leads the way, 7 goals, 5 assists for 12 points. James Van Riemsdyk slots in at number 2 at 5 goals, 4 assists, 9 points. Nazem Kadri, 4 goals, 5 assists, 9 points. William Nylander, 3 goals, 6 assists for 9 points. And Morgan Riley, 1 goal, 7 assists, and 8 points for him. What this basic graphic indicates is that the Leafs have been getting balanced scoring from everybody. It's been very encouraging early on. Now, how that stacks up for the NHL's top 10 scorers. We got Steven Stamkos leading the way, 3 goals and 15 assists for 18 points for him, while Nikita Kucherov, his line mate, comes in at number 2. 10 goals, 6 assists for him, 16 points. He's tied with Alexander Ovechkin for the lead in the goal scoring race. He has 10, they both have 10 out of the gate. Austin Matthews slides in at number 4, 7 goals, 5 assists, 12 points for him. Scoring is up in the league, and it's evident by your top 10 there. Now, as in terms of the Atlantic Division, a little bit of change here. The Tampa Bay Lightning are at number 1. They are at 7-1-1 on the season, good for 15 points. Toronto Maple Leafs at 7-2 are in number 2, 14 points for them. Ottawa is in at number 3, 4-1-3 on the year, 11 points for them. Detroit Red Wings at number 4, 4-4-1. The Boston Bruins at 3-3-1. The Florida Panthers at 3-4-0. The Buffalo Sabres in number 7 at 2-5-2. And unfortunately, the Montreal Canadiens, they have gotten off to an absolute terrible start out of the gate. They are 1-6-1 on the year. I'm smelling coaching change. I'm just saying it's possible with the slow start out of the gate. These guys need to do something to get going. I don't know what that is, but a coaching change usually is one of the things that is done in the heat of the moment to try and get a team going. It's been done before. It'll be done again. I could see it possibly happening here. I'm not saying that's for sure, but I'm saying that could be what the Montreal Canadiens need to spark, to get some fire under these guys to start producing. This has been your NHL and Toronto Maple Leafs report. We'll be right back after this.
You are watching TST, Total Sports Talk. TST, Total Sports Talk presents the NFL Report.
Welcome back, everybody. This is your NFL report for week number 7. Let's recap all the action. In the Thursday nighter, Kansas City was defeated by the Oakland Raiders 31-30 on an absolute thrilling Thursday night game. It's probably one of the best games that we've seen in quite some time. Derek Carr went 29-52 for 417 yards, including the game-winning touchdown with no time left to Michael Crabtree. 3 touchdowns on the day for him. Oakland improves to 3-4 on the year, while Kansas City drops to 5-2. The Buffalo Bills defeated the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 30-27. LaShawn McCoy had 23 rushes for 91 yards and 2 touchdowns. Buffalo improves to 4-2, while Tampa drops to 2-4. The Chicago Bears upended the Carolina Panthers 17-3. Chicago improving to 3-4, while the Carolina Panthers fall to 4-3. Bears' Eddie Jackson, defender, had 2 defensive touchdowns of 75 yards apiece. Just an unbelievable effort from him and the entire Chicago Bears defense. The Tennessee Titans defeated the Cleveland Browns 12-9 in overtime. Tennessee improves to 4-3, while Cleveland falls to 0-7. Titans safety Kevin Byard had an incredible game, 3 interceptions on the defensive side for the Titans in the victory. The New Orleans Saints took advantage of a Green Bay team without Aaron Rodgers for the rest of the season. They defeated the Green Bay Packers 26-17. The New Orleans improves to 4-2, while the Green Bay Packers fall to 4-3. Ted Ginn Jr. was a beast on the offense for the New Orleans Saints, 7 receptions, 141 yards for him. The Jacksonville Jaguars pitched a donut. They defeated the Indianapolis Colts 27-0. Jacksonville improving to 4-3 on the year, while the Indianapolis Colts fall to 2-5. Blake Bortles 18 of 26 for 330 yards and a touchdown in the victory. The LA Rams also pitched a shutout, 33-0 over the Arizona Cardinals. LA Rams moved to 5-2, while the Arizona Cardinals dropped to 3-4. Todd Gurley was a beast on the offense at the running back position, 22 rushes for 106 yards and a touchdown for him. The Miami Dolphins squeezed out a victory over the New York Jets 31-28. Miami moves to 4-2 on the year, while the Jets fall to 3-4. Matt Moore went 13 of 21 for 188 yards and 2 touchdowns. He also threw an interception. He came on in relief of Jay Cutler, who suffered an injury. We'll touch on that in a moment, but he was a beast there. They're saying he could be into the lineup Thursday night against the Baltimore Ravens in the Thursday nighter should Jay Cutler not be healthy enough to go. Like I say, we have an update for you later. The Minnesota Vikings defeated the Baltimore Ravens 24-16. Minnesota Vikings moved to 5-2, while the Baltimore Ravens dropped to 3-4. Latavius Murray had his breakout game with the Vikings, 18 rushes for 113 yards and a touchdown. The Dallas Cowboys rode Ezekiel Elliott the entire way, handing the San Francisco 49ers their 7th loss in 7 games this season. 40-10 was the final. Dallas Cowboys moved to 3-3. San Fran, like I said, 0-7. Ezekiel Elliott combined rushing and receiving for 219 yards and 3 complete total touchdowns. He was a beast for the Dallas Cowboys. It's already being said and announced that he will play in week number 8 against the Washington Redskins. The Pittsburgh Steelers defeated the Cincinnati Bengals 29-14. Pittsburgh moves to 5-2 on the year, while Cincinnati drops to 2-4. Le'Veon Bell, 35 rushes, 134 yards. He also added 3 receptions for 58 yards in the victory. The LA Chargers put up the NFL's 3rd shutout of the week, defeating the Denver Broncos 21-0. The LA Chargers move to 3-4, while Denver slips to 3-3. That's the Chargers' third win in a row. Phillip Rivers went 15 for 26, 183 yards and 2 touchdowns on the day. Seattle Seahawks defeated the New York Giants 24-7. Seattle moves to 4-2 on the year, while the Giants slipped to 1-6. Russell Wilson was very, very good, methodical to say the least. 27 of 39, 334 yards, and 3 touchdown passes for him. In the Super Bowl rematch, well, it wasn't much of a rematch. New England Patriots defeating the Atlanta Falcons 23-7. New England moves to 5-2 on the year, while the Atlanta Falcons fall to 3-3. Tom Brady was very good, 21 of 29, 249 yards, and 2 touchdowns. In the NFL's Monday Nighter on week number 7, it was the Philadelphia Eagles defeating the Washington Redskins 34-24. Philly moves to 6-1. They own the best record in the NFL. Washington slips to 3-3. Carson Wentz continues his unbelievable year, 17 of 25 for 268 yards, 4 touchdowns, and 1 interception. Taking a look now at our leaderboard for your Week 7 in the NFL. At the QB position, Derek Carr led the way, 29-52, 417 yards and 3 touchdowns. Jameis Winston, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, comes in at number 2, 32 of 44, 384 yards, 3 touchdowns, and an interception. Alex Smith was there, 342 yards for him, 3 touchdowns. Russell Wilson, 334 yards, 3 touchdowns. And Drew Brees there, 331 and a touchdown for him in the victory. Bortles, Cousins, Tyrod Taylor, Carson Wentz, and Tom Brady round out the top 10 there. In terms of on-the-ground games, Ezekiel Elliott led the way, 26 rushes for 147 yards and 2 touchdowns. He was followed by Le'Veon Bell, 35 rushes for 134 yards for him. Green Bay running back Aaron Jones had 17 rushes for 131 yards and a touchdown, while TJ Yeldon of the Jacksonville Jaguars filling in for Leonard Fournette, who missed this past week, 9 rushes for 122 yards for him and a touchdown. At the for the receiving leaders for the past week in the NFL, we had Amari Cooper leading the way, 11 receptions for 210 yards and 2 touchdowns. Ted Ginn Jr. at number 2, 7 receptions for 141 yards, no touchdowns there. Tyreek Hill of the Kansas City Chiefs, 6 receptions, 125 yards and a touchdown. Jared Cook, 6 receptions, 107 yards for the Oakland Raiders. Deontay Thompson, 4 receptions, 107 yards for the Buffalo Bills. Allen Hurns at 5 receptions for 101 yards and for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Julio Jones of the Atlanta Falcons, O.J. Howard, Jarvis Landry, and Doug Baldwin round out the top 10 there. Switching over now to our Week 7 injury report. It's filled with injuries. Let's just get you up to speed. Arizona Cardinals quarterback Carson Palmer is expected to miss 8 weeks. He will have surgery this week to repair a broken arm. It's a devastating injury for the 38-year-old in what could be one of his career's winding down, and to see him go out like this is it's going to be a hard injury for him to come back from. Expected to miss 8 weeks, having surgery this week. Miami quarterback Jay Cutler, he left the game with what they were calling a chest injury. As it turned out, he has multiple cracked ribs, and he is to miss Week 8's game against the Baltimore Ravens this Thursday night. It looks like he will miss a fair amount of time with this injury, leading the way for Matt Moore to lead the charge. Dallas kicker Dan Bailey left the game with a growing injury in the first half. It is being reported that he will miss several weeks for the Dallas Cowboys. Former Cincinnati Bengal kicker Mike Nugent will replace Dan Bailey moving forward. Baltimore Ravens wide receiver Mike Wallace left week number 7's tilt with a concussion early on. He is questionable for Thursday night's game against the Dolphins in week number 8. And finally, Seattle running back C.J. Prosise. He left with an ankle injury. His status for week number 8 is in question at this point. And like I say, so here's your Week 8 schedule. The Miami Dolphins and the Baltimore Ravens will take part in the Thursday nighter. Miami at 4-2, Baltimore at 3-4. Starting the Sunday slate of games, you have the Minnesota Vikings against the Cleveland Browns. This one goes in London at 9:30 Sunday afternoon, or Sunday morning, excuse me. You got the Oakland Raiders and the Buffalo Bills, the Indianapolis Colts and the Cincinnati Bengals, the LA Chargers in New England, the Chicago Bears in New Orleans, Atlanta Falcons against the New York Jets, San Francisco 49ers against the Philadelphia Eagles, the Carolina Panthers at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the Houston Texans at the Seattle Seahawks, Dallas Cowboys at the Washington Redskins. Your Sunday nighter on NBC is the Pittsburgh Steelers against the Detroit Lions, and your NFL Monday nighter is the Denver Broncos at 3-3 against the Kansas City Chiefs in Kansas City, who are at 5-2. On your Week 8 bye this week is the Arizona Cardinals, Green Bay Packers, Jacksonville Jaguars, Los Angeles Rams, New York Giants, and the Tennessee Titans. This has been your NFL report for this week's episode of TST. We'll be right back after this.
You are watching TST, Total Sports Talk. TST Total Sports Talk presents the Toronto Raptors and the NBA Report.
Welcome back, everybody. This is your NBA Report, Toronto Raptors, covering them. It was a busy week for the Toronto Raptors. They had 3 games to kick off their 2017-2018 NBA season. First up for the Toronto Raptors was a game against the Chicago Bulls at the ACC where they were victorious 117-100 over the Chicago Bulls. Raptors 1-0, Chicago 0-1. Jonas Valanciunas was very good for the Raptors, 23 points, 15 rebounds. Newcomer CJ Miles, who they acquired in the offseason, he was 22 points, 5 rebounds for the Raptors. Norman Powell, 15 points, 4 rebounds. Kyle Lowry, 12 points, 9 assists, while DeMar DeRozan had 11 points and 6 rebounds. Robin Lopez leading the Chicago Bulls, 18 points, 8 rebounds in the defeat. Raptors continued their winning ways on this past Saturday against the Philadelphia 76ers. The Raptors 128-94 were the victors. Raptors improving to 2-0 while the Sixers dropped to 0-3. DeMar DeRozan on the flu, 30 points for him in the victory. Serge Ibaka was very good, 21 points, 5 rebounds, while Kyle Lowry had 17 points, 5 rebounds, and 5 assists for him. Ben Simmons leading the way for the Philadelphia 76ers, 18 points, 10 rebounds for him, who were without Joel Embiid, who was forced to miss the game due to the situation that it was a back-to-back. He was unfortunately unavailable for them. Finally, the Toronto Raptors wrapping the week again on the road against the San Antonio Spurs, where they started a road trip of 6. They unfortunately fell apart in the fourth quarter, falling ultimately 101-97 was the final. Raptors are 2-1 on the season. San Antonio Spurs improving to 3-0. DeMar DeRozan 28 points, Serge Ibaka 13 points, CJ Miles 13 points, Kyle Lowry with 8. LaMarcus Aldridge was very good for the San Antonio Spurs, 20 points, 8 rebounds for him. Rudy Gay actually come back facing the Toronto Raptors as a former Raptor, 11 points, 5 rebounds for him in the contest. Toronto Raptors will continue with their season for the rest of the month of October. They continue. They're on the road against San Antonio. Was their first of 6 on the road. A very tough contest all around. They will face this week. They've got the Golden State Warriors on Wednesday, October 25th at 10:30 p.m. That's followed up with a date with the Los Angeles Lakers Friday, October 27th. That is also at 10:30. And they wrap up the week with a tilt on Monday, October the 30th at 10 p.m. against the Portland Trail Blazers. It's been very encouraging, the Raptors out of the gate. 2-1 so far. It's still early. A lot of basketball left to be played, but it looks very encouraging thus far. This has been your NBA report on TST. We'll be right back after this.
You are watching TST, Total Sports Talk. TST Total Sports Talk presents the Major League Baseball Report and Toronto Blue Jays Report.
Welcome back. Thank you very much for joining me as always. I'm hoping you're enjoying the show thus far. It is now time for our Major League Baseball report. We start our Major League Baseball report with our World Series MLB postseason bracket. The National League Championship Series wrapped up. The Los Angeles Dodgers victorious over the Chicago Cubs in a 4-1 series win. Game 3 saw Yu Darvish pitch 6 1/3 innings, allowing only 1 run on 6 hits, striking out 7. Andre Ethier and Chris Taylor hitting solo home runs in a 6-1 Dodger win. In game number 4, in a game that featured 5 solo home runs, Javier Baez's second of the game in the bottom of the 5th was the difference, as Jake Arrieta struck out 9 in 6 2/3 innings. The Cubs' victory allowed them to stay alive in the series. Game number 5, however, ultimately saw the Los Angeles Dodgers overpower the Chicago Cubs. They defeated them 11-1 in game number 5. Kiki Hernandez homered homered 3 times, including a grand slam in the 3rd inning, to drive in a record of the NLCS, 7 runs. He was just absolutely amazing in the game. Chris Taylor and Justin Turner named co-MVPs of the National League Championship Series that saw the Dodgers. You know what? They were incredible all year. They own the MLB record, the best record in the majors this year, and they are representing the National League. Very well deserved for them. Congratulations to the Dodgers on being the representative of the National League in the World Series this year. And over on the American League side, well, here's how it all shook down. Game number 4 saw the Astros up 4-0 when Aaron Judge's home run started a run of 6 unanswered as the series became deadlocked 2 apiece. In game number 5, Masahiro Tanaka was masterful in the game, pitching 7 innings of scoreless ball, allowing only 3 hits, walking 1 and striking out 8, as the Yankees moved ahead in the series 3-2. Game number 6 saw Astros pitcher Justin Verlander do it to the Yankees once again. Pitching 7 innings of scoreless ball, he allowed only 5 hits, walking only 1, and striking out 8. Dominant once again in the series against the Yankees, tying this series at 3, sending it to a game number 7. The Houston Astros used home runs from Evan Gattis and Jose Altuve, while Charlie Morton and Lance McCullers Jr. combined for a 3-hitter, striking out 11, as the Houston Astros, for the first time in their franchise's history, are your American League champions. It's absolutely impressive. What's even more impressive is that Sports Illustrated actually predicted this 3 years ago in 2014. They put out a magazine with the Houston Astros on the cover. Houston Astros rookie then at the time, George Springer, on the cover, predicting that in 3 years' time, the Astros would win the World Series. They are 1 series away from doing just that. Astros pitcher Justin Verlander was named MVP of the American League Championship Series. His line was absolutely phenomenal. He went 16 scoreless innings. 16 innings. He only allowed 1 run. I apologize. 21 strikeouts, though, in 2 wins in the ALCS. So here we go. World Series. You got the best team from the National League in the LA Dodgers, and you got the second best team in the American League in the Houston Astros. This is going to be an absolutely incredible matchup. Here's how it shakes down. First game of the World Series goes tonight in Los Angeles. Dallas Keuchel brings his 14-5 record up against Clayton Kershaw, who finished the year at 18-4. Game number 1, like I said, tonight. 8:09 is the start time. Game number 2 goes Wednesday at 8:09 on October the 25th. That one we know has Justin Verlander going up against Rich Hill in game number 2. Game 3 goes Friday, October 27th at 8:09. Game 4 Saturday at 8:09, October 28th. Game 5 Sunday, October 29th, if necessary. That one goes at 8:16. Game 6 goes Tuesday, October 31st at 8:09 if necessary. And if it goes all the way to a Game 7, it'll wrap Wednesday, November 1st at 8:10 p.m. in Los Angeles. The Dodgers have home field in this World Series. We'll see how it all comes to fruition, but it should be a phenomenal World Series. You got arguably the best bullpen in all of baseball going up against one of the best offenses in the entire league. And you know what? The pitching on both sides is just unprecedented, and it really should be an incredible World Series, probably one of the best we've seen in quite some time. This has been your Major League Baseball report. Enjoy the World Series, and we'll see you next week. Hopefully, we'll have a Game 7 that we can talk about to get you prepped for and wrap all the games that were. Or we may be just wrapping and giving you your insight on the new World Series 2018 champions. We'll be right back after this. Stick around. We'll be right back.
You are watching TST, Total Sports Talk.
Welcome back, everybody, to TST, Total Sports Talk. I am Andrew Rogers, your host. I hope you have enjoyed this week's episode of TST. I've enjoyed bringing it to you, and I hope that you've enjoyed the entirety of the episode. We had lots to talk about, and I'm hoping it was up to your level of satisfaction. We move on now to the TST Sports Movie Pick of the Week. This week is the 1994 release of Little Giants. Heisman Trophy winner Kevin O'Shea, played by Ed O'Neill, puts together a football team, a Pee-wee football team. When his selections leave several kids out, Kevin's brother Danny, played by Rick Moranis, aids them and brings them all together to build a team of his own to take them down. Special appearances by John Madden, Bruce Smith, Tim Brown, Steve Entman, and Emmett Smith.
You know, there's something you guys should know. When I was 10 years old, I put myself on the injured list. I never got off.
Why?
Because I didn't get picked a few times. So I started hiding under the bleachers.
That's where we belong, under the bleachers.
No, you don't. You guys belong out there with those cowboys. You know how I know that? Because I belong out there with my brother.
Give us a break, Coach. You can never beat Kevin O'Shea at anything.
No, that's not true. I did beat him once.
When?
When we were kids. We used to race our bikes down Cherry Hill every day after school. We'd race every day, and he'd always beat me. But one time, I beat him.
You beat Kevin down Cherry Hill?
Yes, I did. He ate my dust.
Big deal. One time. You know, one time at Randy Cooper's swim party, I did a backflip off the high dive, and my brother chickened out. Roger chickened out? He's a Marine.
That's nothing. One time in spring carnival, I beat both my brothers in the cow dunk toss.
You beat Matt and Brad in the turd toss? You know, one time I went fishing with my entire family, and I was the only one that didn't throw up. So what? That still doesn't make us good football players. Yeah.
Wait a second, guys. Whoever said you had to be good to play football? You play football because you want to. You play football because it's fun. You play football so you can go out there and pretend that you're Joe Montana throwing a touchdown pass or Emmett Smith going for a long run. And even if those Cowboys are better than you guys, even if they beat you 99 times out of 100, that still leaves
one time.
One time? Yeah. One time.
I just told the mayor you forfeited.
Really? Well, you better give the mayor a message from me. Tell him not to bet on the Cowboys in the second half.
You forget one thing.
Yeah, what's that?
That's my field.
Yeah, well, we got the ball.
Your TST, Total Sports Talk, Sports Movie Pick of the Week this week is The Little Giants, released in 1994. this is Andrew Rogers wrapping this week's episode. If you want, if you're looking for custom apparel, go to Vistaprint. They are very good. They've supplied these commentator shirts, and they turned out amazing, and I bet they will for you for any of your custom apparel needs. Vistaprint.ca is where to go for all of your for everything that you need custom apparel wise. Andrew Rogers signing off for this week's episode of TST Total Sports Talk, and we'll see you next week. Take care, folks.